words were finally spoken. The air's been clear, mouth open. I'm finally breathing. I've been waiting for this moment.
Hey everyone, this is Mike McCusker. You're listening to BlindSpots, episode number 5. All right, here we go. I hope you're ready. What you're listening to in the background is some sound taken from a recording session I was a part of last night at the Bridge Studios in Cambridge with a good friend of mine, Rajon Brooks. He writes, records, performs under the name Ray Minor. We were there recording a song called Cry No More for his new album, American Christianity, which we actually wrote together back in high school at the Boston Arts Academy in the late 90s, early 2000s. Before the session last night, Rajon, myself, and a friend of his, Jason Barnes, met together in the load-in area, actually out back behind the studio. I got there a little bit early and set up shop, and we recorded this conversation. We talk about the song. We talk about some of the themes that he writes about on the album. We talked a lot about race. We talked a lot about the legacy of slavery. And in the process, I think we began to get into looking at the ways that we today make sense of the world that we live in, that surrounds us, and begin to formulate and understand our own stories, who we are and how we got here, through what we know about the past, through our own histories, through our family lineages, researching your family tree and finding out all the information about your family's history and emigrations, as a way of understanding who we are and discovering who we are. It was a great conversation. We're going to do it again real soon. I almost have to shake my head to say this, but this is going to be a 2-part episode. Maybe I should just make that the standard format from now on. But we're going to get together. We're going to record a second part to this because we didn't have a whole lot of time. We had to get into the studio for the session. I want to thank Rajon and Jason for coming on the show, for being willing to share their time, their thoughts, their ideas, their stories with me. I really enjoyed it, and I hope that you'll enjoy listening to it. So here it is, part 1 of BlindSpots, episode 5. Here we go.
All right. 2.
If y'all are hearing any distracting sounds coming through there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, actually. Cool.
Yeah, man.
I really don't have a structure or a format, so there's no lead in if you're waiting for me to be like.
Time to
so
think
here,
about this, bro.
No, I do it on purpose. It's kind of like intentional.
Okay.
I'm intentionally unintentional.
Okay.
That's the free form thing.
Intentionally unintentional.
Yeah,
sounds
because
like the name of a project.
You can have it if you want.
So certainly, we could talk about the project.
That is actually like
just use that to
a
lead
real
into
show kind of thing that I wanted to make sure we did do.
Dope.
Because I had this idea recording with you guys a couple weeks ago.
Right.
We reconnected on the internet about Cry No More.
Yep.
We did a demo of the song, an updated demo of the song.
Yep.
A little bit wiser for the years in between.
Yep.
And we were just having a really interesting conversation after the session with some of the other musicians, and I was like, I wish I had my microphone. This would have been awesome for a podcast.
Yeah.
Well, we're not going to recreate that, obviously, but
no.
That's where the idea came from.
Yeah, we can simulate it here, though. And I got...
no, we can just do a whole new thing.
Just do a whole new thing, for sure.
Yeah, you haven't said anything yet. I will introduce you. So you brought your friend?
Yes. First of all, I go by the artist name Ray Minor, RA_.
You don't go by Rajai anymore?
No, I don't.
I was going to ask you all about Rajai.
I know. You can still ask me about him.
Okay.
But
why'd you change?
I changed because something really was feeling. I felt the need for the change.
Yeah.
And there's a meaning behind the name.
What is it again?
RA_, minor.
MINOR?
Yeah, MINOR. The RA is supposed to signify or represent godly attributes.
Okay.
Ra, God, whatever. Ancient Africa, blah, blah, blah.
Is it about to rain?
I hope
I just
not.
felt
You felt the drop?
You don't have a tarp in your trunk, do you?
I have this one that I'm sitting on.
We might have to all kind of put that over.
That would be
I'm expecting
hilarious.
There's going to be a drummer loading out any minute. I'm expecting everything.
We could just sit in the car.
Well, no, I got everything. It's good. We'll be
okay.
good. If it starts to rain really hard,
we'll have to cover that. But anyway, I want to make music that speaks for voices that are underrepresented. So it's really Ray minority,
okay.
Or God minority, or God for minorities.
What does underscore mean?
The underscore is just the
Like as a punctuation?
It's just a punctuation.
Yeah. As a punctuation, do you know what it means? Or what it's for, what its job is?
I'm probably not using it right.
That's why I asked. I suck at punctuation. I'm always like, is it a semicolon?
I have
or
no
what the fuck do I
freaking
use
clue.
here?
I know what the semicolon is for, but the underscore, I see it used so many different ways. It was just an idea that I had, but I definitely wanted to change the name.
I thought the inspiration behind the name before was really cool. I always thought that was interesting. Do you want to talk about that, Rajai?
Yes. So I was born a twin. Rajai was my twin brother. We were born Rajon.
Yeah.
Rajai passed away at 17 months.
I thought he died at birth. He was 17 months?
17 months.
Oh my God.
He died of meningitis. In 82.
Meningitis?
Meningitis was something that could kill you.
Yeah. I just found out recently I might have had it a couple times.
Yeah. It's survivable now. I mean, you give you a shot or a medicine, some type of medicine.
It's a brain swelling, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that. So I think
you ever had meningitis?
No.
Yeah.
My family doesn't talk about anything. Does your
family,
like?
That's family in general.
That's your family too?
Yeah, I have to ask questions.
Even when I ask questions, I don't feel like they just kind of go, "Oh yeah, you might have."
Listen,
we may have taken you to the emergency room a couple of times with possible brain swelling.
Yeah, I found out just recently how far removed that I am from slave lineage. Actually, just found that out a couple weeks ago.
How far removed are you?
About just a couple generations. So
when my kids were like 3, anytime I said a couple, they go, "A couple means 2," and I go, "Right, yeah, literally."
Right.
But so
a few. I'll say a few.
Few is like 3 or more.
My grandmother's grandfather was a slave.
Okay, say that again.
My grandmother's grandfather.
Okay, so just a couple of generations.
Yeah, so that's a couple of generations.
I just found out recently that the McCusker lineage, going back through Ireland, a lot of McCuskers were hanged.
Wow.
By the government. It was like I guess it's like a thing with us.
Maybe because they were hung.
They were, maybe.
Jealous.
Not good.
Anyway.
No comment. No comment. Keeping that a secret.
Damn,
no, but
McCuskers.
that was like, that drove our sort of the movement of the McCusker line out of Ireland to different parts of the world. It was because the government always seems to want to kill us in some way. And then I found out the same as on the Fargo side, which is my mom's side. So I'm basically screwed either way.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter which genes I inherited.
Oh, that's just like Arc right there. That's archetype. What's up? He's the main producer.
Do you think that this looks weird?
The manager, yeah. Yes, it does. What's up, man?
Hey, what's up?
Everybody's recording right now, so
Just recording a podcast.
we're doing a little podcast outside. Yeah. We wanted to do it inside. We were like, it's gonna be maybe a little too disruptive.
Crazy.
How you doing, man? You want to introduce yourself?
No,
We can hear you.
I'm good, thank you.
You're a star.
Grill or something.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
You got a grill. Just need to turn it.
No, this is a laptop stand. This is a very fancy laptop stand.
So that was Archetype. He makes all the beats for Still Gold.
Do you make all your own beats?
Yes, I do. Make all my own tracks. Use Propeller Head Reason.
You were showing me a
great.
little bit of reason when you were here last time.
I always try to convince.
Me.
Yeah, I always try to convince people of a reason.
It's a different brain type, I think. Because
Yeah.
I look at it and I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
When I look at GarageBand or people tell me Logic is the same, it's like, I feel like I know how to use this without need to know how to use it.
It looks simple.
And then you're like, look,
right?
Reason is really easy. Like the same way I feel about GarageBand, and I'm like, I don't know what you're just.
That's only because we've been using it for years. We've been using this.
GarageBand was day one. I plugged this thing in, I'm like, I'm ready to go.
I've been using
this
Reason
microphone,
since like
plug it in,
2.5, yeah.
plug and play.
So
That's what I'm about.
That's hilarious, dude.
We were talking about slavery though. That's a little.
Yeah. Good
Let's maybe
transition.
go back to that.
So
I don't feel like we fully explored.
Yeah. So
So you just found this out?
Yeah, I just found this out. I have slave roots on both sides of. Well, actually, it's hard to say both sides of my family. I'll say.
You just said it.
2 sides of the same side
Now
of
you're
my
just getting
family.
complicated. Would it?
I'll explain.
2 sides of the same side?
Yes. So my
and none on the other side?
I don't. Well, that's
don't know
the
about the
thing.
other
With
side.
I don't know about the other side. My grandmother's grandfather. She recalled some stories that he told her of being basically a houseboy and growing up nice. And his father was the master, and his mother was an African slave. So my grandmother's great grandmother was an African slave.
What does that mean, a houseboy? I mean, I kind of
Houseboy.
just have you put in your own
He
words.
basically the master had sex with this African slave and bore a child, and he kept that child in the house.
Oh, it was like mixed child, so like light skinned, and then that kind of became its own.
Yes, and my grandmother's grandfather was extremely fair skinned, and she recollects stories that he told her of, meeting his mother and taking water out to his mother in the fields.
Wow.
Yeah. But and I asked her, I said, he considered himself a house boy.
Yeah.
Did he consider himself a slave? And she said no. He didn't.
Who would not take any opportunity to not consider themselves a slave?
But again, he was born like that.
Yeah.
He was born into it. So of course you wouldn't consider yourself a slave. You could, if you're being called son.
Yeah.
You can like, well, this is what I know.
Yeah.
And immediately when she said that, it reminded me
if the
of
world around you tells you that's what a slave is,
exactly.
You're like, oh,
He's like,
thank
whoa.
God I'm not that.
Right.
And you might not even know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It reminded me of the Harriet Tubman quote, freed 1,000 slaves. I could have freed 1,000 more if they only knew they were slaves. It would have really, really.
But then Lincoln came and then it was all good, right?
Yeah, right.
Maybe you know a little bit more about this, because these are the types of things I assume other people know and I just don't.
Oh.
When they say Lincoln freed the slaves, I've been trying to think for a while, what does that mean? What did he do that freed the slaves?
Well,
like that's a pretty big statement.
Lincoln, really for power purposes, signed the Emancipation Proclamation, pushed that through.
Then Mariah Carey years later released the album Emancipation of Mimi and brought it full circle.
Yeah, full circle, bro.
Maybe like half circle.
Maybe.
Semicircle.
But that the emancipation made slavery illegal.
Okay.
I made.
So everyone just stopped.
No,
That's a joke.
it didn't. Of course, didn't stop.
They changed the
that
law,
abruptly.
and then the idea is the trickle-down effect of changing
Yeah.
things at the top, and then everyone sort of sorts it out underneath. Or, but really, all it does is people just find out different ways
Yeah.
to subvert and keep
If you-
doing what they want to do.
Yeah. If you,
know?
a better question is, how many people went to jail for continuing to enslave people?
Do you have a guesstimate?
0 is my
that's
guesstimate.
sort of what I was thinking too. Yeah.
I mean, slavery just morphed into all these different things that America is guilty of. Indentured servitude, not just it actually came from indentured servitude a lot of times, but the I forget what the what is it called, the workers, the what are those, the sharecroppers, that's right,
Sharecropper.
the black sharecroppers, it just continued to morph into a bunch of stuff, Jim Crow, now it's mass incarceration. I mean, all those are just the trickle down effect of
Changing the law.
Changing the laws.
So Lincoln really.
I don't think when the Civil War started that Lincoln's intention was to free the slaves, based on just freeing the slaves and everybody should be equal.
Poll numbers.
It was more it was more so the South wanted to break away and be its own country and everything and stuff, and Lincoln wanted to keep the country
Keep it together.
Yes.
Yeah.
and everything. And so how do we weaken the South? And that was by taking where their
Was that the wind that just
Yes,
made it
the
do
wind.
that? I'm going to turn this down just a little bit, so that just means you in particular just going to have to speak a little bit louder.
So he did that by taking away their biggest asset, which would be the black slave.
Yeah.
Because they were the ones that were working in the field and everything. I actually read Booker T. Washington's autobiography. Booker T. Washington, he's the one that had started, the founder. It was a Tuskegee.
Yes.
Tuskegee. So he founded Tuskegee University, and in his autobiography, he talked about how around the Civil War time and when slavery had ended, because he was born into slavery. I think slavery ended when he was like 9 or 10 years old or something like that.
This is Booker T. Washington?
Yeah, Booker T. Washington. So in his autobiography, he talks about how the nation almost went under because when slavery was officially over, you had all the slaves that knew all the trades, and the whites didn't know anything. They just had money.
Yeah.
And so that's how the whole sharecropping thing came into play and everything like that, was because I don't know how to work the fields. Now I have to pay somebody to do it for me and stuff. So I don't think that Lincoln's intention from jump was to free the slaves because we were human, and
that was a sort of indirect part of a larger strategy of unifying the country and by weakening one half of it so that it basically fell apart.
I think that over time, like his heart, he started to see
maybe I don't know.
Right, yeah, but I think that he's been blown up as this actually somebody did research and said after Jesus, he's the second person in history, most studied second person in history.
Most studied or most
studied?
Referenced?
Most studied.
Really?
Most studied.
Because I kind of part think the reason that he's so considered to be so influential is because we just tell children from the time they're old enough to be told, Lincoln, he freed the slaves.
Right. Yep.
And nobody really knows what that means. Nobody really knows the larger context. Well, you guys have a little bit more insight into it than I do.
Yeah.
But I think probably I'm more the norm. People just go, oh, Lincoln freed the slaves.
Right.
And that's a pretty big accomplishment to, I think Obama just got health care passed, which is probably, meaningfully, is probably a bigger accomplishment in terms of like its benefit. But I don't know.
So going back to slaves and ancestors, my family, my father's side, they did like extensive research and bring all these genealogists in.
Yeah, my aunt's doing that right now.
And everything and stuff. And so we don't know if he's the first one.
Yeah.
But we actually traced it back to 1812 or something like that. My father, his mother, maiden name is Scipio. And so every Scipio in the United States is related. Every Scipio is related.
Is that true?
Yeah. So
there's no other lines of Scipio? There's like a John McCusker in Quincy that I'm not related to at all.
So the first Scipio, there's a book about I don't know if you're familiar with the balls.
About the balls?
Yeah.
The balls.
The ball plantation.
I'm familiar with the balls.
Oh, yes,
the balls.
Ball plantation. So
is that like
they had one of the largest
ball canning jars, right? Is that connected to it?
I don't know. Might be. But
Lucille Ball.
They're from South Carolina. No,
Lucy.
No, she's from somewhere in New York. But they're from South Carolina. They had one of the largest slave populations in the country.
Okay.
At one time.
This is a plantation.
Yep.
Yeah.
The ball plantation.
It's basically like the original corporation, isn't it?
And so the great thing about them is they kept record of everything from generation to generation. So every slave that they owned, they documented it and everything like that. So there's a gentleman, he wrote a book because his father is a ball, and he heard stories about how his family owned slaves and everything like that. So he wanted to do research and everything like that. So he went back and did research, and he found like all the slave records and everything. So
I think they would have burned that shit when they changed the law.
So in the slave records, there's a Scipio who came over, and he docked in Virginia, and then they bought him.
Wow.
His name is Scipio. He was 14 years old.
Wow.
At the time, he was 14 years
old.
When
he docked.
Yeah, when he got here, he was 14. Went in slave. So that's how our family started. So from Virginia, one of the balls goes up to buy him, brings him back. That's how our Scipio family starts from there. So that's like in the first couple pages of this book that he wrote.
Yeah.
Like I could turn to page. Actually, I did it like about a month ago. I went to Barnes & Noble and got the book. I just wanted to see it for myself, and I saw, and it said Scipio, and I almost started crying. And stuff, because I'm in Barnes & Noble in Copley, and I'm like, man, I don't want these people to see me crying and stuff. And I almost bought the book, but I didn't buy the book.
How come?
I don't know. I mean, it kind of felt like a proud moment, but then you like, I shouldn't be proud of this.
A proud moment.
Yeah, it was like I shouldn't be proud of this because this is my first.
It's mixed feelings, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So I was like, if I buy the book, it's kind of like I'll be supporting the Ball family all over again, because it was the Ball that wrote the book.
Oh, okay.
And stuff. So yeah, so
okay.
I
thought this was
like,
okay. So now I get the
yeah. So I was like, I mean, although he did it with
steal the book
with good intentions, because he said he wanted to write the book to heal his family and to heal the families who were ancestors, who were descendants of the ancestors that his family had enslaved and everything like that stuff.
Yeah.
But somewhere in me kind of felt like,
hearing you say that, somewhere in me feels like, and make a few bucks in the process.
It was like
I was making money.
Yeah, it was like
the book healing anyone.
I still didn't want to buy the book. I think I took a picture of the page in the book. I did. Yep, right here.
I'd be curious to know.
So right here, Scipio. Yeah. So
14
I'd be
years old,
curious
man.
to know
Could you imagine?
the-
14 years old?
the African history of the Scipio that came over, because that's really where the family started.
you know, and I was thinking about doing the what is it, the
Like the
DNA? What is it?
Oh, yeah.
DNA
Yeah, I don't know if
Gen 3 or
it,
something
swab.
like
it's
that?
pretty.
Did you do it?
There's some issues with that.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I seen,
yeah.
I seen
Yeah, a lot of issues with that.
somebody just did it like a month ago. It was a white person. They did it
Of
a
course.
month ago. They found out that they're like 14% black. And
Everybody's a percentage of black.
I can't remember who this person is.
I'm curious because I thought when he said somebody did this, I was thinking of something else, and then he said took the test. Why you said of course? Well, why do you?
Well, I was
primarily
primarily
Just
but
Same.
he didn't take
say
the,
probably a white person.
yeah.
But he didn't. But this person, I
Do black people not do
cannot recall
DNA?
who it is.
Well, we do, but it's our history, our genealogy can only be traced back to the earliest slave.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
outside of this 14-year-old that came,
Right.
they didn't get his history books from what
Yeah.
tribe was he. They took him from Africa.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just to transition, because we have like
Before we
15
transition, I just
15
want to throw one thing,
minutes
and
left.
this is going to be, I don't know the details of it, but I took a course on evolutionary biology. And basically the woman said that one of the guys who, discovered DNA turned out to be like a huge racist. And like used his ideas to extend over, this might not be true, it's just because it's that whole idea of like, is biology destiny? And so if you've got DNA, which is like sort of considered hard evidence
Yeah.
of what a person
Yeah.
is, then it's like, oh, well, there really is inferior race or
He's
superior
trying to
race.
prove,
And it's
yeah.
trying to sort of parse things apart and say, basically justify what people want to do or are already doing.
Yeah.
And to say that there's scientific evidence for why it should be this way, why the
Right.
status quo or the power structure should be the way it is.
Yeah.
Which, that makes me very suspicious of
Speaking of slavery,
DNA.
there's a book out there. Well, actually, there's.
Can I just jump in because you just mentioned we only have about 20 minutes, and
Oh, sorry.
there's a couple things I
Yeah.
definitely want to get in. So, what we don't transition to?
To transition, I wanted to ask do you know the name of the first slave ship that reached the Americas?
I don't.
Jesus, or Jesus of Lubeck, which is translated as the good ship Jesus.
That's interesting.
Man, people really know how to name things, don't they?
Yeah, they do. The good ship Jesus brought the first slaves over to America.
Wow.
Wait, since we're on the topic of race, one thing that I kind of thought of on the way over here that was part of the reason that I had the idea to have this conversation was I want to talk a little bit about the project, but specifically, I had an experience during the session that I want to talk about and
Yes.
get some ideas about. So we came in to record Cry No More, which is a song we recorded in high school, or wrote in high school, and
Yeah.
re-recording now. And I thought if we had a couple minutes, we might try to do a
Sure.
little piece of it. Maybe
No
try to do
problem.
the original piece.
I don't know the original.
You don't remember the? I remember it
No, I
started.
had to rewrite it,
I had
remember?
a hard life. And
Oh,
I'm still
yeah,
bruised
that's
from the fight,
right.
despite the fact that my
Oh
future
my
don't
gosh,
look so
I
bright.
can't
It's
believe
like,
that you remember those
I want to be
lyrics.
right, but everybody's after me. I don't like the way it is, but that's the way it has to be.
How the
But
hell do you
actually,
remember
that's right
this
where it cuts
crap?
off. But actually,
How do you remember that?
I don't know.
I don't remember one
I
word.
can't remember my fucking name
That's
some days.
ridiculous. I wrote that in high school.
I liked the song,
Wow.
man.
That's crazy.
And I looked up to you. But when I was here, you were working on a song, "White Boys in the Hood."
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I remember, so here I am, I'm sitting there, and I've already got a whole bunch of things in my own head that makes me a little bit, on edge. And I'm listening to the words of this song, and I'm like, "White boys in the hood ain't no." And I asked you, I was like, "White boy? What do you mean when you say white boys in the hood?" You're like, reference to police, and then it got into the story of like KKK into law enforcement. So there's a deeper story that we're not gonna have time to get into.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking like, but when I'm walking around, am I no good? Like,
Right,
I had this whole sort of process of like, but I'm not white. But everybody would think that I'm white. Nobody would agree with that.
Right.
Nobody would like, what the
Right.
fuck? So when I heard that song, I had this process of kind of wrestling it with myself because I wanted to understand the story behind it and the feeling behind it because it's a very
Yeah.
emotional song. And at the same time, I found these conflicting emotions coming in, wanting to sort of defend myself, or protect myself.
Right.
So I thought, hey, we'll talk about it.
Yeah. So white boys.
Oh, and then I got robbed a few days later.
what?
I'm living in Brockton with my uncle at the moment, and I was out like 1 a.m. on like a Friday last weekend, and a couple dudes ran up to me with face masks on and knives, and took my money, took my iPhone.
You're shitting me.
No, this was like a week ago.
I'm
So
sorry
then I'm
to
like,
hear that, man. Damn.
I'm like, I'm a white boy in the hood right now.
Not quite.
No.
Not in the sense of that
Not in
song.
any sense.
Not in
Yeah.
any sense, no.
But the experience for me was
Well,
just having
technically.
those feelings, like
Yeah.
come up from hearing the song and then wanting to explore them more. So yeah, do you want to talk a little bit about the song?
Absolutely.
Cool.
The song is not going to go on this project, and it actually might just be released as like an initial song to generate some buzz for the project, but it's not actually going to belong on there.
It's fine.
But White Boys in the Hood is a police protest song, really to shed light on the relationship between the KKK and the police. What we know today as community policing, today's form of community policing, really started during the slave time, as when the paddy rollers came around to collect runaway slaves. This is the reason why we call the paddy wagons.
I thought it was like an Irish slang term.
Maybe
Because they used to
paddy, right?
fill them up outside the bars with drunk Irish people fighting at the end of the night.
Well, back in
probably both.
during slave times,
It's a dumb name anyways.
the police came out of this. There was always a close relationship between police and the KKK, because once slavery was done.
This gets back to what we were talking about before. There's sort of
Right.
that process of transitioning.
Right.
Now it's illegal, but nobody's just going to be like, oh, I guess we can't do that anymore.
Right.
So there's this process of subverting and sort of going underground with
Yeah.
the practices.
And there was an FBI report that came out a few years back that didn't get enough coverage. The report stated that the KKK and other extreme groups were actively trying to and successfully infiltrating police departments. And we've known for a long time that a lot of judges and politicians and people with a lot of power in this country have ties to their families have ties to the KKK. So it really just sheds light on those who have White Boys in the Hood is really to speak to those who have the power to make decisions for those of us that are in the hood.
There's a line in there about am I under arrest or am I free to go even if I am something, even if I can go, it ain't freedom like yours.
Right.
I thought about that line a lot too.
Freedom like
I've been thinking
yours.
about this song a lot in the past few weeks.
You know my songs.
I like you, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Yeah, man.
We're running out of time. Would you be open to maybe, we're going to
Doing this
try to
again?
maybe like let it roll during things, see if we can get any.
Absolutely.
But yeah, if need be, because there's we opened up like 15 different things that I want to explore forever.
We'll definitely have to be
Would you be open to doing
two.
a part two?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. How much time do we have?
We have about, we still got about 10 more minutes.
Okay. And I do want to maybe try to record a little bit of that song if you're open to
All right,
it.
let's do it.
You want to do that now and then we'll
let's do that now.
talk out for the rest.
I don't remember
I'd love
that
to try to
verse.
do.
I don't remember that verse at all.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So this is Cry No More, unplugged, very unplugged.
Very unplugged.
And-
Unplugged outside.
Hey, we didn't get interrupted, by the way. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
We actually got to have a conversation. Yeah, out behind the studio
Mm-hmm.
on some dirty ass chairs.
Dirty.
You're sitting on the tarp that you brought because you were prepared.
That's right.
You heard this song before?
Yeah, I heard a little bit in the car.
When I look into your eyes, I think of how they only told you lies. Still life is to live, not to die for. So dry your eyes, I tell you, cry no more.
Yeah, finally see it. My eyes are finally open. My mind's a slave to no one. I finally freed it from every word that was spoken that would leave me defeated. From every person that left me hopeless and mistreated. When it got tough, was down, but I got up. And now I find myself grounded enough to know just what I needed. I ain't crying no more. Used to lie on the floor while hoping the grave would open up and swallow me whole. You see, the afterlife, I spent too much time trying to go. I couldn't see the present. It's a gift just to exist. So I'm focused on right now, it's not what is. The problem is, they want you terrified when you go to sleep at night.
Let's do it from there, man, because that really
okay,
lost it.
man.
Let's do it from your verse.
Alright, sure.
2, 3, and.
I finally see it, my eyes are finally open. Mind's a slave to no one. I finally freed it from every word that was spoken that would leave me defeated. Every person that left me hopeless and mistreated. When it got tough, was down but I got up, and now I find myself grounded enough to know just what I needed. I ain't crying no more. I used to lie on the floor while hoping the grave would open up and swallow me whole. See the afterlife, I spent too much time trying to go, so concerned about heaven that I couldn't see the present. It's a gift just to exist, so I'm focused on right now, it's not what it is. The problem is, they want you terrified when you go to sleep at night with them four last things in life. They want you worried about death, judgment, heaven and hell. Open your eyes and realize, live for yourself.
When I look into your eyes and I think of how they only told you lies.
Yeah, I know these lines.
You still life is to live, not to be died.
Yeah.
Dry your eyes, I tell you, cry no more.
Yeah.
Had a hard life. What was the original chorus? It was
When I look into your eyes
What's up, man?
and I think of all the time that's passed you by.
Yeah, that was what it. Right.
I realize you have something left to die for.
or nothing left to die for, or something or other.
Yeah, something, I don't know. Something that didn't make sense.
It made sense to me, man. Actually, it made more. I remember the producer we recorded that with first wanted me to change the line, and I didn't really know what I meant.
You talking
by
about
the
Craig?
line. No, there was another dude.
Oh, Marcus Bell. Shout out to Marcus Bell.
He tried to get me to change the line because he thought it would sound like it made more sense the way that he wanted to do it, and I didn't really know what I meant by the line, but I was like, I kind of want to keep it the way it is, even though I don't understand what it's supposed to be about.
I barely recollect. I forget that we recorded that before.
Yeah, nobody has it.
I don't know
We
why.
re-recorded it with Craig too. This
It's a
song's
classic.
fucking epic, dude.
Yeah, it's epic.
Everyone at high school
It's gonna
loved
be-
that song. Do you
yeah.
remember we recorded that at Friday Performance?
Yes, I do remember that.
That was an amazing Friday Performance.
Yeah, it was.
That was powerful.
That was. That's crazy. Friday performances were like the best.
Friday Performances were my shit.
Yeah, man.
From the first day they told us about Friday Performance, like the first year of the school, but
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna be the first Friday Performance, and I'm gonna do that as much as humanly possible. I got everybody together. I was such an awkward dude at that time. Still kind of
You were
awkward. At
cool.
times.
You were cool to be.
I was
dude.
pretending to be cool, and
Oh, man. No,
and then I eventually faked it till I made it. I think, but I was nervous. I was not coming from a very healthy environment when I got to Arts Academy. I had a pretty much since I was like a kid, like a young kid. There was just a series of not. I'm trying to search for the words and I can't do it right now because I'm worried about the time.
Fucked up shit.
Yeah, fucked up shit. See, that's better.
There you go.
There's some fucked up shit. So when I got there, like I didn't know what the fuck to do. And then I was in this situation where like I was one of the only white dudes in the school. But that was kind of a turning point because everyone before that hated me. Like everyone in my neighborhood. And then I got there and everybody liked me and supported me and held me up. So
All right, take care.
we got to stop because now I'm getting like,
Yeah,
I'm like, fuck.
getting emotional and shit.
And it's totally not the right time to get emotional.
We'll save that for the next time.
Cool.
Have a good one, man. See ya.
Thanks for listening. This is Mike McCusker, BlindSpots. It's good to be back. Bye for now.
I thought that I was walking with you, but I let go of your hand and you disappeared. Could've sworn that I was talking with you, but now your silence is loud and clear. I can see traces of you when I'm facing the mirror. Just can't erase and undo all the faith that was here. But now I'm embracing the truth and I ain't gonna be scared of the pain of the days of my youth as I'm facing my fears. I can say that you lame and you fake, but you ain't gonna care. I'm looking for a sign, I look behind and find you ain't there. I took the blinders off my eyes and now I finally see clear. Wondering where the fuck you went, it must have been some type of fucking dream. I'm wandering in this world of sin and clergymen is just not what they seem. Pulling at my scene, tugging at my jeans, fucking up my dreams. Someone intervened, these undercover demons coming after me, and muddy in the meaning of everything I'm seeing. This has to be such blasphemy, what a tragedy, a catastrophe. Now I'm on my knees in my agony, seeking what I need, cause I ain't ever clean. Why'd you have to leave? Why'd you have to leave? Why'd you have to leave? Why'd you have to leave?